I'm sure you're aware of the terrible tragedy that has befallen Maui, if that's how it's pronounced, in Hawaii. Absolutely terrible scenes, as you will have known. And of course, the whole world now are looking at this dreadful event. And it's all over the place. You see these horrible pictures of burning, the fires, some interesting pictures in which houses have just completely collapsed. Here's one, for example. I don't know if I can bring that up. Let's just open that in another thing. Oh no, that's a video. I wonder if I can open the image in another. There we go. And as we can see, all the paint stripped from those cars. I don't know if you can see that. All the buildings come down. Amazing that the trees are just denuded of leaves. They don't seem to have burnt or anything, which is a little bit odd, I hasten to add. But let's just have another look. Here's another picture. Let's see if we can bring that up. Open the image in another folder, and there. Look at that. It's this tree doesn't look like it's been scorched at all, which is a bit odd, I grant you. But look at what the intense heat has done to the cars there and the other stuff. Let's just see if we can find one more picture in all of these. Let's just go back a bit here. There's all sorts of images here that we can have a look at. Here's another one. Let's just switch that open in new thingy. Oh, there we go. It's a bigger picture. We can see a bit more of that, and we can zoom in. Buildings, look, completely razed to the ground. A car here caught fire. Interesting that the tarmac is not scorched at all, which is a bit odd, isn't it? The water in that pond over there is still there. You'd think that might have evaporated with the intense heat that's burnt all of this. And all these trees, look, there's some trees here. Here's a tree, building burnt to the ground, and yet there's leaves on this tree. There's greenery here, the greenery all over here. Loads of trees with greenery, which does seem very odd for a fire. But anyway, I wanted to show you something else which I think is extremely strange, that you might think, hang on a minute, that's a bit odd. Let's have a look at this, because I was alerted by one of my viewers to a book that is available. Have a look at this, a book that's just come out. Almost immediately. This is on Amazon. It's called Fire and Fury, the story of the 2023 Maui fire and its implication for climate change, by somebody called Dr. Miles Stone, who's the author. Let's see if we can see what they look like. Here we go. I think that must be him. This image of him here. He looks an elderly-ish gentleman, but he may well know what he's talking about. Let's find out what the actual story is, and I'll read that to you. It says, Fire and Fury, the story of the Maui fire. I may not be pronouncing that right, but please excuse that. And its implications for climate change is a gripping and eye-opening account of one of the most devastating wildfires in Hawaii's history, and how it reveals the urgent need to address the global climate crisis. The book chronicles the events of August the 8th to the 11th. I should point out we're filming this on the 15th. So 4 days later, a book has been published already, which is quite incredible, really. Anyway, it goes on. When a massive fire swept across the island of Maui, fueled by drought, heat and hurricane winds. Hurricane winds. Note that, because those pictures would assume that there wasn't any wind, because I didn't understand why the trees aren't burnt. The book describes the harrowing experiences of the people who lived through the fire, as well as the heroic efforts of the firefighters and the rescuers who battled the flames. Were there firefighters who battled the flames? The book also examines the causes and consequences of the fire, both locally and globally, and how it exposes the vulnerability of our society and our planet to the impacts of climate change. The book draws on scientific research, eyewitness accounts, they must have been found very quickly then, one presumes, official reports, have they had time to have official reports? And media coverage to provide a comprehensive, it says here, look at that, comprehensive and compelling narrative for the Maui fire and its implications for climate change. The book also offers practical solutions and recommendations on how we can prevent and prepare for future wildfires and how we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions to adapt to a changing climate. Fire and Fury, the story of the Maui fire and its implications for climate change, is a must-read for anyone who cares about the environment, the future of humanity, and the fate of our beautiful planet. That's what it says. That's exactly what it says. And let's just have another look at this picture then. Here we go. Let's see. Can I move around on that? I can't actually. I wonder if I can. Here we go. Let's just have another look. Hurricane winds, it said. I mean, I wasn't there. But these buildings, which were clearly there, hurricane winds, the flames so close to these trees, all these trees, it is just somewhat curious. There's a house here, I don't know if you can see that there. There's a house there completely untouched. It's just a bit odd, I would have thought, unless, of course, that house was erected immediately after the fire. All those eyewitness accounts. Anyway, if you want to buy that book, I'm not going to put that in the description. You'll just have to go and look for it yourself because it just seems extremely odd. And I can't quite get my head round how such a town can have a wildfire in which the trees aren't burning, yet the buildings are absolutely right to the ground with no bits left. You know, normally, I mean, if you've ever seen pictures of the Blitz, for example, in which bombs had dropped in London and then fires caught, they do tend to leave a little bit of the masonry, don't they? And if you think of any fire, people have driven through fires and spoken to me. In fact, somebody spoke to me today, said, I've driven through a fire. It does look very, very different to what we're seeing. So I'm puzzled. And I just wonder, maybe you're puzzled too.